Hi, my name is Heather Lombardo, and today I will be talking about Rory's story cubes. To give you some background about this therapy tool, originally the creator of this activity, Rory O'Connor, had put images onto the faces of a Rubik's Cube, and players would have to turn the cube and unscramble the images. Then they would have to choose a side and make up a story based on the pictures that they had chosen. A woman named Katie Jones, who worked for a company called Cater Enterprises, suggested that Rory put the 54 images that he had created onto 9 cubes so that it could allow for a quicker way to generate more varied combinations. The prototype was then created in 2004, and in 2005, a company called Game Right started selling what is now story cubes. So I was at Target about 2 years ago, searching in the game section for activities that I could use with some of my clients that I had in the general clinic at school, and I stumbled across these story cubes. I bought them. They came in a little box, and I took them to clinic the next day and showed them to my supervisor. And then I ended up going back to Target and buying out all of the ones that they had because my supervisor wanted some and a few friends who were also in clinic wanted some. Additionally, I bought another set for the clinic for Janice so that anyone who's in clinic can continue using these because I found it to be such a beneficial tool, and it was a lot of fun, and it was definitely different than the therapy activities that we usually do with the clients. So, as you can see, these cubes come in a nice little carrier case, which makes it easy for you because you don't lose them. It's easy to find them, and it's bright orange. It also comes with a little piece of paper. So this is actually inside of it, and it just gives you different ideas that you can use with the story cubes. So when I bought them, I really didn't know much about them, and I just knew they had pictures, and I thought, well, this would be great for one of my clients who was struggling with his expressive language. It actually tells you 3 different ways. So the first one says that you can roll all 9 cubes and have the child make up a story using all of them. It also says you can choose a theme, so allow the child to choose a theme like a fairy tale, and then they would have to tell a story based on their cubes that they had rolled, what that was about, whatever theme they had chosen for that day. And it also gives you an idea that you can use if there's more than one player. So, for example, in social skills clinic or, clinicians who are working in a school, this is a really great tool to use for social skills because it allows each child the opportunity to be part of making a story together. So you're not only getting that expressive language from them, you're getting eye contact from them when they're making up the story and collaboration between them because they're all together making up a story. So it's a really great tool to use for that also, and I wish I had had it in my social skills clinic because we actually did activities like that. So in addition to these ones, these are the originals. So this is Story Cube Originals. And since I bought it 2 years ago, it was the only one that they had. Now they sell a few different versions. They have Voyages, Actions, which are great for learning verbs. They show things like kicking or reading. So it allows the child to use those verbs in the right context. And then they also have Rory Story Cubes Max. So they're just like these ones, except they're a lot bigger. So it's really good if we're using it for a really large group of people or for some children who might not be able to pick up these small dices. They come a lot bigger, so it gives them a better opportunity to join in the fun. So I'm just going to show you one of these. So as you can see, it's a little cube, and it has different pictures. So a tree, a tower, an eye, an envelope, a pyramid, a rainbow. So it really allows them their own creativity. So it's a really great tool for expressive language. Now, why should we use these for therapy? Well, I can give you a few ideas. These are a great tool to use for articulation therapy, for example. So if you're working on a particular phoneme, you can use that and create a carrier phrase. For example, you can say, Larry likes, and then they have to roll the dice and name what he likes. That is, for example, if you're working on the phoneme L. You can also use the pictures and have them say whatever they are. If they're working on multiple phonemes, this gives them practice and also allows them to feel like they're playing a game because they're rolling the dice and they don't know what picture they're going to get. And then eventually, you can have the child incorporate the phonemes that they're working on into sentences. So you can start with a simple word using naming, then you can do the carrier phrase, and then you can continue it to a sentence. And eventually they can make up a story, which would be really great for their articulation practice. Another way you can use these is for language development. Since there's 9 cubes, it's a lot to start out with. So I would recommend breaking the 9 into 3 groups of 3 cubes. So that way the child doesn't have to come up with 9 sentences, which can be pretty overwhelming. So it allows them 3 different games, 3 different stories they can come up with, and it still gives them the opportunity to play and create those long, full, and correct grammatical sentences. Additionally, you can do WH questions. So if you're working on WH questions, you can have them roll the dice and ask them, what color is this shape, or what do you do with this, depending on what it is. Some of them are hard. For example, if you get the question mark, those are hard ones to ask. So you can ask them the color. What color is this? Or if they're a little bit older, what does this mean? And they can explain that to you. So it works really well on a variety of things. As I mentioned, you can also use these for social skills. So you can have a small group of children, and each of them is allowed to roll a dice. You can have one of them create a theme. The other ones have to create the story based on that theme. It's also fun to do silly stories with these. I did that with one of my clients. Sometimes it's not as fun when you're trying to come up with a story. Some of these are a little bit random, so when you have them make up a silly sentence, they're having a lot of fun, and they're also creating those sentences, and they don't feel like they're working or in speech therapy. They just feel like they're coming and they're getting to use these in a really fun, creative way. Additionally, you can use these for written expression. So I did a little bit of research, and I found a few blogs online that speech therapists had shared their different ways that they had used the story cubes. And I found a template that someone made called Storytelling with Rory's Story Cubes. So just to give you a little idea of what it looks like, this is what it looks like. So it basically allows the child to come up with a title. They put their name in for the author, and then they come up with a setting or a theme. So it always starts with once upon a time, and they're allowed to make up that first sentence. Then they roll each of the 9 cubes, and then they place each cube onto each section. So cube 1, cube 2, cube 3, and then they have to write out a sentence using their cube. So since I have the original ones, it's harder for them to work on verb tense. But as I mentioned, there are also action ones. So a fun activity for them would be to make up a story using present tense, and then you would have to allow them to go back and then change it to past tense. So it's a really good way to use verb practice as well. And they're still feeling like they're creating the story and having fun with it. It's a really good tool. So going off of this, I found this on a blog. I highly recommend that if you purchase these, you go look online, look at the blogs, and look at the different ways that people use them. It's a really great way to see different activities that you hadn't thought of. For example, I would have never thought about writing using these. I always use them for verbal expression, and thought this was really great that this speech therapist not only shared her idea with it, but also shared the templates, which would allow us to use them as therapists as well with our clients. Her website is sublimespeech.com, and she provides she has a lot of therapy activities on there, but she does have one particular section for Rory's Story Cubes, which I found to be helpful for myself also when thinking of activities. Another big one is Pinterest.com, as I'm sure most of you know about. I just put in Rory Story Cubes onto Pinterest, and there are so many more activities that you can think of, different templates that people have shared, and I think it's a great tool for all of us since it's such a collaborative field that we're in. So if you do end up getting these, I highly recommend, if you think of something new and different, that you share it with the world, because it's really beneficial for not only us as speech therapists, but for the children that we're working with. I hope that this explanation helped you, and maybe you'll be able to use these in your therapy. Rory Story Cubes are a great tool that can be used in a variety of ways, including language vocabulary development, literacy development, expressive and receptive language skills, problem solving skills, and social skills. I hope that you enjoyed learning about them, and I would highly recommend that you use these with your clients as well.